So someone asked me to do a video about what I would do if I were a federal employee at this particular time. They expressed concern and fear about what could happen if Donald Trump follows through with his claims to revamp the federal government. He's establishing some office of government efficiency and putting apartheid Adam, aka Leon Musk, in charge of it, as well as that Vivek guy. Now, I think in order to determine what you should do, it's going to require that you educate yourselves. So here are a couple of things that I think you should keep in mind and that I would keep in mind if I were still a federal employee. I actually was a federal employee younger in my life, or back in my young life. First thing is educate yourself. Second thing is organize yourself. Third thing is stay calm. Being afraid, overreacting is not going to be helpful to anybody right now, especially Black people. So the thing is to be strategic, rational, and calm, because a lot is going to be coming, and it's going to be coming from all kinds of directions, and it is intended to make you scared. It is intended to disorient you. So you have to intentionally work to not do any of those things. So the first thing, let's talk about educating yourself. It's very important to be educated about how the government works. And I think a lot of fear is coming from people's lack of education about how their own government works. There are 3 branches of government. There's the executive branch, there's the legislative branch, and then there is the judicial branch. Okay? The president is the head of the executive branch. The Congress is the legislative branch. That is the House and the Senate. And the Supreme Court is the head of the judicial branch. What you need to understand is that while the executive may want to do things, Congress holds the purse to everything. Okay? Congress decides how much funding the government actually gets. So in order for Trump to actually, and Project 2025ers, to actually be able to gut the government and replace people with cronies of Trump's, it is going to require multiple acts of Congress to do it. I would really advise that people who have an interest in this pay attention to what Congress is doing. And where the organization comes in is organizing yourselves to contact your representatives, to contact them, to raise hell about your concerns. You are still citizens, you are still taxpayers, you are still voters, you still have a voice as of now. You need to use it, okay? But this is not the time to cower in the corner. This is the time for Black people and Black federal employees to create a coalition and to organize themselves, okay? This is also a time to take advantage of professional development, get certifications, get your resume together, right? If you've been thinking about leaving the federal government, now's the time to start thinking about doing it. But don't do it reactively, okay? Be proactive, not reactive, okay? But I do think now is the time to make sure you understand how these things work, how the levers of power work. I think there's going to be chaos over the next several months. There are lots of different factions in the Republican Party, and while most of them are loyalists to Trump, not all of them are. And all you need is a couple of them to hold up issues in terms of voting for things, in terms of allowing budgets to be cut, or creating, even funding this government efficiency business. That's a new department that he is proposing. And all of the funds for every single thing comes from the government itself, comes through the Congress. The president doesn't have any money that the Congress doesn't give to him, okay? And so it will be interesting to watch over the next several months during appropriations. Pay attention to who gets put on the appropriations committees, who heads the appropriations committees, both in the House and in the Senate. And keep an eye on the senators from Maine and the senators from Alaska. Okay? Right now the Republicans have a majority, but it's not a huge majority. And they're going to need Democrats to get certain things done. There are things that Democrats can do to slow a lot of this stuff down or straight up make it not happen. So I don't think now is the time to panic yet, but now is the time to be paying attention and be making plans. So again, educate yourself, all right? Organize yourself and stay calm, right? As I've said from the very beginning, I think it is critically important for Black people to decide to act as a group, as a collective going forward, and to advocate for things that are important to us, and to only form coalitions with others if it is to our advantage, not to theirs, okay? But I think that there are enough employees that are Black in the federal government that you can organize yourselves. And there might already be organizations of Black federal workers, but it's going to be very important for you all to be in tune to the legislative process and to organize yourself. If there are coalitions to be built with the Congressional Black Caucus, for example, who are primarily Democrats, do that. Now is the time to really pay attention and reach out to your representatives, especially your Democratic representatives, to find out what they intend to do to not allow this to happen. Because I'm very concerned about how quiet they are while all of this is unfolding. And I'm not saying nothing is happening, but I don't believe enough is happening. So I really think now is the time to start asking questions, organize yourself, educate yourself, pay attention to what is happening. But there can't be mass layoffs. That's not how the federal government works. He can't just sign an executive order and fire 1,000 people. Now, they're political appointees, all of whom are going to resign, right? And there's certain civil service positions that the president feels that he can fire. But he can't just say, I'm laying everybody off in the Department of Education. But what they can do is cut the funding for the Department of Education for the next year, or cut it significantly in half. And if Congress goes along with that, then you have a concern. So I think you got to pay attention to, first of all, the budget that's going to be presented by the Trump administration, because that's going to tell you what their priorities are and who they're going after, right? That's the first thing. Then pay attention to what the Congress does in response. And I think there's going to be some chaos, because I don't think that what he presents is necessarily what they are going to approve. It is never that way with any president. Now, again, he has a lot of acolytes and he has a lot of, minions. One person said, if Donald Trump tells us to jump high and touch our heads, then that's what we're going to do. A Republican said this on national television a couple days ago. So again, you got to pay attention now. You need to know who the members of Congress are. You need to know who your representatives are. So if you don't know, make it your business to find out. Republican and Democrat for your district where you live. All right? But most importantly, pay attention to the budget that comes out. Pay attention to the Appropriations Committee and how it responds to that budget. Okay? Then you will know whether you need to be concerned and whether you need to not be concerned. But whatever happens, have your resume ready. Now's the time. Any training you were planning to take that your federal government office will pay for, get it done. Do it now. Ask for it now. Right? Now is the time to start putting ducks in a row so that if you have to return to the private sector, you will be well positioned to do so. Right? Now is the time, because it's hard to predict now what direction this is going to go in. If they actually fully fund that government efficiency office he is proposing, that would be the first order of concern, right? If they approve his budget for any of these departments and they slash it significant, that should be the second signal to be concerned, right? But right now, it is November of 2024. And yes, people are panicking and there's reason to be concerned, but you've got to wait and see what happens, first of all, with the appointments, right? Whether or not all of these people he put up actually get to be a part of the government. And I think many of them will, right? But pay attention to that. Also pay attention to the budget that gets put out. You're not going to know any of this stuff till after January 20. So yes, it's time to be concerned, and yes, it's time to start making plans, but I don't believe it's time to act in panic. I don't believe in panic, period. I don't believe in being reactionary. I believe you have to be proactive, you have to have a strategy, and you have to be ready to execute it. So now's the time to start thinking about what will you do if these things actually happen, and start putting a plan in place, right? But now's not the time to actually react on anything. Now's the time to make sure you have the information you need to make reasoned and educated decisions. So I hope these comments are helpful. Let me know if there are other thoughts and questions that you have by comment in response to this video. Please do not start sending me emails, because I don't answer emails, and I'm not going to. I'm a very busy person. I have a lot of things to do, and I don't have time to be responding to emails. So if you start sending me emails, I'm not going to answer your emails. And I may or not even make a video based on you sending me emails, because I don't want people to be encouraged to send me a bunch of emails, because I don't have time to answer them. So if you have questions, comments, things you would like me to make videos about, please use the comments in the video to do that. I do read all the comments. I respond to some of them, and I do, in fact, use comments to make content. So that's the best way. But this was a good question, and I appreciate the concern and the worry that was in the email, so I'm responding to it. But please don't make a habit out of it. But I hope this was helpful and useful, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.